Today we're ranking every single Leviathan in Subnautica 2, from least to most terrifying. We have the Great Jaw, and honestly, this creature was hard for me to place because I think the concept is amazing. The idea of a giant living clam the size of a building silently waiting for something stupid enough to swim too close is absolutely terrifying in the best way. But compared to the other Leviathans on this, I don't think the Great Jaw has the same level of presence, not yet. Don't get me wrong, I still really like this. From a lore perspective, it might be one of the most interesting Leviathan we've seen. It's basically a gigantic alien bivalve, motion-sensing eyes lining the inside of its mantle. Unlike normal clams, this thing is actually watching as you swim around it, which makes the whole creature feel more intelligent than it probably. What I love about the Great Jaw is how believable it is. It genuinely seems like something evolution on an alien ocean create, rather than just a big sea monster designed to chase the player. The way it feeds using both photosynthetic coral polyps and actual prey gives it a weird semi-plant, semi-predator vibe that fits Subnautica perfectly. I also like the environmental storytelling behind the lithium. The idea that this creature slowly builds up dangerous amounts of lithium inside its body over decades and has to expel it like biological waste is exactly the kind of bizarre sci-fi detail that makes Subnautica's world feel alive. But the Great Jaw suffers from one major problem. It's a little too passive compared to the other Leviathans on this list. Most Leviathans in Subnautica create huge, unforgettable moments where you hear a roar in the darkness or suddenly get chased across the ocean while panicking for your life. The Great Jaw is more like an environmental hazard than an active hunter. It's terrifying in theory, but in practice, once you understand how it works, the fear factor drops quickly. That said, I absolutely love the closure reflex. There is something deeply unsettling about accidentally brushing against one of those tendons and suddenly having an entire mountain snap shut around you. The fact that it floods the interior with neurotoxin after just. Altera scanning teams must have had the worst day imaginable discovering this for the first time. The deep-wing brooder almost looks graceful, its giant wing-like body slowly gliding through the darkness. But the second you get close enough to see that massive tearing beak and those strange eyes tucked beneath its mouth, the entire vibe changes. This thing feels ancient in a way very few Leviathan. It's like you're not looking at an animal, but some forgotten relic from an older version of the planet. What I love about the deep-wing brooder is how alien its biology feels even by Subnautica's. Its ancestors evolved so early that their limbs literally transformed into eyes through evolution. This is exactly the kind of insane sci-fi evolution that makes this universe so in. The creature's entire body tells a story. From the enormous armored shell to deep thoracic keel and giant paddles, everything screams survival through sheer age and adaptation. It genuinely feels like a creature that has survived multiple extinction events because nothing could figure out how to kill it. Then there's the feeding behavior. Might be my favorite part of the entire Leviathan. Somehow the game managed to make a filter feed terrifying. Normally, when you think of plankton feeders, you imagine peaceful whales gently cruising through the ocean. But the deep-wing brooder has a gigantic crushing beak that looks like it belongs on an apex predator. Scientists aren't even fully sure what it eats, which makes it creepier. Apparently, it might casually crack open giant jaws or suck fluids out of titan rock bores whenever it feels like it. I love that mystery. It gives the creature a feeling that no one fully understands what it's capable. What pushes the deep-wing brooder higher on my list is its brood behavior. This thing turns motherhood into psychological. Instead of simply protecting its eggs, it floods the ocean with fake nutrient-rich decoy eggs to overwhelm predators and distract them from. That is a genius survival strategy. It's both horrifying and weirdly the entire ocean ecosystem benefits for giving birth, which makes the deep-wing brooder feel less like an animal and more like a movie, similar to the reefbacks from the first game. I also love the idea of its molt sinking into the abyss, covered in grease and becoming feeding grounds for deep-sea creature, because it makes the ocean. Every stage of the brooder's life supports something else, even after it sheds its skin. That kind of environmental storytelling is where Subnautica has always been its best. My only real issue with the deep-wing brooder is that despite how creepy and mysterious it is, it doesn't quite reach the same level of raw fear as the top two Leviathans on this. The brooder creates tension more than panic. It's the kind of creature that makes you uncomfortable rather than making you slam your sea moth into reverse at full speed. Still, there is something deeply unsettling about seeing a massive ancient arthropod drifting silently through the darkness, while hundreds of glowing decoy eggs float around it like underwater monsters. Visually, this creature is incredible. I love how alien it looks while still feel. The exposed skeleton beneath its skin gives it a half-dead appearance, like it's held together by sheer instinct alone. Those giant wing-like fins make it look almost elegant until it opens that horrible fused bone beak and starts accelerating directly. I also like little details like the glowing nodes beneath the tail and the pearl-like cheeks because they make the creature even stranger. It's one of those Leviathans where the longer you stare at it, the more uncomfortable. What pushes the Shiver Leviathan so high on my list is that they hunt in groups. Subnautica has always been filled with giant predators, but most are solitary. The Shiver Leviathan feels different. The giant female slowly hanging back while smaller males move in first creates a terrifying sense of coordination and intelligence. It feels less like an animal encounter and more like you've wandered into the territory of something that knows how to hunt strategically. The databank entry describing them as patient, hungry creatures drifting through the empty void gives me chills every time I also like how the creature balances looking both terrifying and slightly goofy. If you freeze the Shiver Leviathan in creative mode and stare at it floating there with its weird little pearl cheeks and giant bird wing, it almost looks awkward. But the second one starts charging at you. All that disappears instantly, becomes one of the scariest creatures in the franchise. It's amazing how much the fear factor changes depending on whether the creature is calmly drifting or actively trying to erase you from. Shiver Leviathan perfectly captures what makes Subnautica's deep oceans so terrifying. The feeling that somewhere out there beyond the edge of the world, something ancient, hungry, and possibly large is still waiting in the Hey, I've been using this awesome tool called LegalGPT. If you ever need to review the contract itself, it analyzes clauses, risks, and obligations in seconds. You can use it to break down dense legal jargon for perfect clarity, letting the AI instantly flag unfavorable terms and missing placeholders before you sign anything. It spots hidden liabilities, handles complex agreements beautifully, and cuts your manual review time by over 90%, all while keeping your sensitive documents completely secure. It's an AI-powered lifesaver that is fast, accurate, and private. Head over to LegalGPT.top, links below. Seriously, give it a try. King rises from the abyss because there was never going to be any other creature taking the #1 spot on this list. My favorite Leviathan in Subnautica 2 is, without question, the Collector Leviathan. The first time I encountered one, I didn't even realize what I was looking at. All I saw was a faint glowing shape moving beneath in the darkness. Then suddenly, the music kicked in, and this gigantic squid nightmare came shooting straight toward my sub like it had been waiting for the perfect moment to attack. Visually, this creature is incredible. It looks like someone crossed a colossal deep-sea squid with an ancient alien war machine. The glowing forehead, armored mantle, massive claws, and huge beak capable of ripping through titanium all make it feel unbelievable. I think the AI does much of the heavy lifting for this creature because it is relentless. Once it spots you, there's almost no hesitation, just locks on and starts beelining directly toward you at terrifying speed. That aggression alone makes encounters with the Collector feel much more stressful. What I really appreciate is that the fear doesn't only come from the creature itself, but from the atmosphere surrounding it. The music that starts building when a Collector is nearby is amazing. It creates a rising sense of dread where you know something terrible is about to happen even before you fully see. While some people think the music slightly removes the surprise factor, I think it makes encounters more stressful because the second those sounds start playing, your brain immediately goes into survival mode, and suddenly every dark shape beneath's danger. Lore-wise, the Collector might also be one of the coolest Leviathans we've ever gotten, because the databank basically paints this thing as a hyper-intelligent abyssal predator, evolved specifically to dismantle heavily armored prey. The fact that its claws and beak are designed to pry open creatures like the Great Jaw instantly tells you this thing sits near the very top of the food chain. And I absolutely love the biological details too. The separate thrust spiracles, the secondary hearts, the sonar broadcast organ connected directly to its brain, all of it makes the Collector feel weirdly believable despite looking like cosmic horror, Squidward on steroid. I also think the Collector perfectly captures what makes Subnautica special, combining fear, wonder, mystery, and deep-sea horror into one. It's terrifying without feeling unrealistic, alien without feeling overdesigned, and aggressive without becoming annoying. And in my opinion, it's a massive step up from a lot of the Leviathans we saw in Below Zero.